Yes, guys, what's going on? Welcome to AdamMcKola TV. This is United Daily Live, the place where you get your latest Manchester United news every single day. We are live at 10:30 p.m. UK time, and of course, thousands of you tune in after we have been live. Thank you to everybody that has been getting stuck in to all the content on AdamMcKola TV. We have had loads for you in the last couple of weeks, loads on transfers and Donny van der Beek and all those kind of things. As well as your regular rumour raters, Weekly United, and all the other usual content is going to be slowly coming back as well as the season gets underway in less than 2 weeks time. We've got predictions and all those kind of things coming up, 2 season previews and that, so make sure you're hitting that subscribe button and the notifications button so you get every single bit of content here on AdamMcKola TV for absolutely nothing. And of course you can join, pay a little membership fee, help support the channel, and get bonus content as well if you really fancy it. Of course though, click that subscribe button, make sure you're keeping it locked. And as I said, we've got loads to get stuck into today on United Daily Live. We have got more Jadon Sancho stuff, and maybe there's a reason why this move has been held up. We've been wondering, why has this move been held up for so long? About 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, we heard that Manchester United had agreed terms with the player and his agent via reliable sources, a £250,000 per week deal over 5 years. We'd heard Jadon Sancho had agreed till 2025. We heard Borussia Dortmund say, this is the price, we're not backing down from it. And Manchester United were interested in him, but it's been held up and we haven't known why. But there may be a reason coming out from the Duncan Castle's transfer podcast, which we've heard today, and a few updates in regards to that. So we'll be covering the reasons why this move could have been held up, and of course the latest on this, which is Manchester United believe they have an agreement in place with the player and with Borussia Dortmund. So we'll be doing a little bit more digging on that. We'll also be looking at the reports on the fullbacks that we could be chasing, that we've been linked with. Alex tells his agents believed to be in England for talks, but it believed he's been offered to Manchester United and Paris Saint-Germain. Wolves are also linked with interest to him as well. It's believed United are still in for Sergio Reguilon, and that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has the perfect plan for the Spanish fullback. And Dylan Levitt has today joined Charlton Athletic, the League One side, on loan. Now you're probably thinking, surely he could have got a championship team. It looks like James Garner could be set for a loan in the championship, but Dylan Levitt dropping down to League One, playing for Charlton Athletic, playing for Lee Bowyer, who is a friend of Nicky Butt, who's obviously Dylan Levitt's current manager at academy level. And maybe that relationship between Nicky Butt and Lee Bowyer was a key in making this decision happen. Charlton played decent football as well. They'll be expecting to be battling for the playoffs and maybe automatic promotion, and hopefully Dylan Levitt can be an absolute big part of that. He's obviously made his Wales debut recently, which is massive for him, having only made a handful of appearances for Manchester United's first team, and now he's set for a season-long loan deal at Charlton Athletic. So one of those players that we expected could be on the move has made his move, but that's only a loan deal. And remember, we've got updates today as well on Chris Smalling too, as well as many other things. So before we get stuck into all the latest news on AdamMcKola TV, as always, we have an On This Day. And on this day, today's date is 8th of September 2020. But on this day, the Saturday the 8th of September 2007, Phil Neville, with sibling Gary Neville injured, helps the Neville brothers bring their joint number of full England caps up to 142 when he appears for England in a 3-0 European Championship victory against Israel at Wembley. It breaks the familial record which had been held by Sir Bobby Charlton and his elder brother Jack Charlton. Obviously rest in peace to Jack Charlton. But on this day, Phil Neville and Gary Neville broke the Charlton brothers records for a joint number of caps when it went up to 142, and they obviously picked up a few more after that. So that is today's On This Day out of this way. But what has been said about Jadon Sancho? It's time to get stuck into that. But before we do that, make sure you are hitting that like button on this video. So we are hearing that from the transfer podcast, and thank you for the quotes via United Report. But we're hearing Manchester United are very comfortable with their position on Jadon Sancho and believe they have an agreement in place with the player and with Borussia Dortmund. Jadon Sancho, his representatives and his family have been waiting to collect bonuses from Borussia Dortmund based on completing a year of a new contract and England caps. Where's the rest that I had on this? So these are the bonuses in more depth via Man United Zone. And the bonuses are based on the contract upgrade which he signed last summer. So Jadon Sancho and his family were waiting for the 11th cap to be triggered against Iceland to trigger that bonus. So he made his 11th cap for England today, which means that he gets a bonus now of 1.5 million euros on his contract. So Manchester United holding up this move, and you're hearing in these latest reports, United have a deal agreed with Jadon Sancho. United are confident that they have an agreement in place with Jadon Sancho and with Borussia Dortmund. And now you're hearing he's getting a bonus for today playing for England and, triggering those 10 caps and getting that 1.5 million euro bonus. So is that the reason why this deal has been held up for so long? Obviously, we know Manchester United are going to try and negotiate fees and transfer and all these kind of things. But maybe that's why it's been held up, because United didn't fancy having to reimburse Jadon Sancho for that bonus. We've got nothing to lose by allowing him to stay at the club, Borussia Dortmund, and play for England in the international break and all that. And maybe now that bonus has been triggered, we will see United move a little bit quicker on this deal, or maybe that's just me being optimistic. But those are the reports that are coming out today. And for you guys that are just joining us, it's that United are very comfortable with their position on Jadon Sancho. They believe they have an agreement in place with the player and with Borussia Dortmund. His representatives and his family have been waiting to collect bonuses from Borussia Dortmund based on a clause in his contract. Now the bonuses were signed in that deal last summer, and Jadon and his family were waiting for that 11th cap so that he got the bonus of 1.5 million euros net. And that's via the transfer podcast, via Man United Zone and United Report. So that is the latest on that. We also hear via Man United MEN, Manchester Evening News, now obviously the once great institution, are saying United are still prioritising a move for Borussia Dortmund's Jadon Sancho, with the club also open to signing a left back, a centre back and a forward. So now we're obviously hearing these reports. Now, as you would know if you've seen the Rumourator, I'm quite confident we're going to sign Jadon Sancho. When you look at the reliable reports that you see from the kinds of people like Christian Folk, Fabrizio Romano, etc., etc., and then you kind of put 2 and 2 together. Now, I could be coming up and getting 5, but it feels like this deal is going to happen. We saw with Harry Maguire, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, that Manchester United dragged on a bit, trying to get that deal down. The deal wasn't getting down. And now, obviously, with Jadon Sancho, we know Dortmund won 120 million euros. We're probably discussing the structure, but then you're hearing about this bonus that Jadon Sancho is picking up for playing in the England game that was today. So maybe that is an explanation. And if United are confident that they have this agreement in place with Dortmund and with Jadon Sancho, then I'm sure we'll see things speed up quite quickly. In terms of Manchester United's preparations for the season, our season gets underway in less than 2 weeks. We've got 11 days till Manchester United's first game on the 19th of September. The Premier League campaign begins this weekend. So Manchester United really have to move quickly in order to get these players in before the season starts. Although we know the window then runs on for a little over 2 weeks after the start of our Premier League campaign until October the 5th. So whilst it could drag on a little bit, I'm hoping with this news that is coming out today, United are confident they have an agreement in place with Jadon Sancho and with Dortmund. The reason for the hold-up has been this bonus in his contract, which was triggered today by playing for England. Now, if you look at the reports that we've got over the last 2 months, Fabrizio saying the contract terms are sorted. It's simply a case of a deal being met between the clubs. Then that kind of fits in to place with maybe an agreement being in place between Manchester United and Jadon Sancho. But these guys on the transfer podcast have gone one further and said United have an agreement in place with Dortmund. Now let's wait and see if that happens. It'd be weird for Dortmund to be happy to wait so that they can pay that extra 1.5 million euro to Sancho and then accept the deal after that, when they would have surely they would have wanted to do a deal before that. But nevertheless, we know football clubs can be very shrewd and those kind of things. So let's wait and see what happens. But I've been quietly confident we'll sign Sancho, and I'm hoping in the next couple of days we'll start to see things speed up, especially now that the international break is over. But as for these reports, I'd take them with a little bit of a pinch of salt as well, because they're not coming from the most reliable of places. But let's wait and see what happens, because we haven't had much reports in terms of Jadon Sancho in the last couple of weeks. There's been the odd one or two, but nothing quite serious and nothing quite as in depth as this one, which has come out today. Obviously Fabrizio, Folk, those guys have all been quiet on the Jadon Sancho front, and maybe that fits in with the report that we heard last week, in which United were unhappy with the way negotiations had gone down, and you know, they wanted the deal to be kept a little bit more quiet and a little bit on the hush. So let's see what happens with this. 14 minutes ago, United Report Academy tweeted that United have signed Alejandro Garnacho from Atletico Madrid on a 5-year deal. He's a 16-year-old player. He chose United over Dortmund, with Real Madrid also tracking his progress. Now, I don't know much about this player. Signed from Atletico Madrid. We've signed recently fullbacks from Barcelona and from Real Madrid, young 16-year-old fullbacks. Now we've invested in another 16-year-old from Spain, from Atletico Madrid, it seems, according to Marca over in Spain. And obviously, there's been talk about Joe Hugill, Stevanovic. United looking like they're investing heavily in a lot of youth players as well this summer, and bringing in various youth from around the world, and obviously in England as well. Bryce Menezes with the super chat says, long time no see, had COVID for 3 weeks, hope you're doing well, mate. Now I just want Sancho and a left-footed centre-back. What do you think of Greenwood's situation? Greenwood's situation isn't ideal. We obviously don't want to see him getting involved in silly things like that and getting chopped off international duty, breaking the rules, whatever. But he's also a young player. He's going to make mistakes. Now, as long as he learns from those mistakes, doesn't do it again, gets his head down, works hard for the start of the season, then I'm happy with that. Do you know what I mean? But if he keeps repeating those mistakes, then that's when I think you've got to start to worry. But at this moment in time, you know, I'm not overly concerned by it. Anthony Martial played today for France, who beat Croatia 4-2. He got a goal and an assist. Yes, I said goal. I know that, you know, UEFA or whoever gave it as an own goal when it came back off the post, hit the goalkeeper and went in. But come on, that's Anthony Martial's goal. A goal and an assist for Anthony Martial. So, great stuff for him. Hopefully coming back to Manchester full of confidence and full of beans. So, we've got another story on Chris Smalling today from Il Tempo, who said Chris Smalling's agents have arrived in Italy to try and close the transfer to AS Roma on the basis of 9 to 10 million euros plus bonuses. Now, what this could be would be, you know, we've seen it with the Kai Havertz deal. We've seen it with the Kai Havertz deal, where German reports are that, you know, Bayer Leverkusen got their asking price of 100 million euros, and British reports are that the price was around 60-70 million quid or something like that. There's differing reports there, and that's because Chelsea will brief one thing, so it looks like they won the bidding war, and Bayer Leverkusen will brief another thing, so it looks like they won the bidding war. And that's probably what you're going to see with AS Roma and with Manchester United over Chris Smalling. But they have completed the deal of Schick. They've sold Schick, so they've got that transfer fund in from the sale of him. Hopefully that will now mean that Chris Smalling will complete his transfer to AS Roma, and Manchester United will have that fee coming in, because, you know, getting rid of Chris Smalling, Rojo, Jones, Andreas Pereira, those kind of players I think is important as well in terms of refreshing our squad and bringing in a few more, and maybe making a bit more budget available for this transfer window, especially if we want to see the likes of Sergio Reguilon coming in for Manchester United, you know, and other maybe bonus signings that we wouldn't have expected to have got this summer, but, you know, because of the COVID situation, other clubs needing money, maybe a few signings that we didn't know would be available become available, and we should be trying to take advantage of that. Yes, we've got business to do in terms of getting that right winger, getting Jadon Sancho through the front door. We've got Donny van der Beek in. We want a centre half, but if there's the ability to do deals for the likes of, you know, Sergio Reguilon, who does strengthen your team and strengthen your squad, then make it happen. Now, I'm feeling a little bit sceptical on this deal. I've got a feeling it's not going to quite happen, but we've heard lots of reports on it today. We heard United are in constant talks with Sergio Reguilon's agents, and then we heard the director of football from Sevilla saying regarding the issue of Sergio Reguilon, we would love to have him here, but it is complicated because they're economically very strong rivals with whom we are not in a position to fight. So it looks like Sevilla had almost given up the ghost on signing Sergio Reguilon, and it looks like he could be set to sign for Manchester United, or at the very least leave Real Madrid on a permanent deal. Now, in AS, the Spanish newspaper, they reported tonight that Solskjaer has the perfect plan to fit Sergio Reguilon in at Manchester United. United have made an attractive offer to Real Madrid, which the player welcomes. So we're hearing more reports on this potential deal of Sergio Reguilon from Real Madrid to Manchester United. Now, we've heard varying prices from between 20 million euros to 30 million euros. Now, one thing that is often reported and has been reported again today in Spain is that the buyback clause situation could prevent United from being seriously interested in this deal. Because Real Madrid are insistent on a buyback clause in the deal, United aren't going to be in a position to do that. We're not one of these little clubs that are going to be happy to take a player in so we can develop him and then sell him back to the club that he came from. We're not going to want to be in the position of doing that and agreeing a fee for that now. So this buyback clause situation could be, or could provide a stumbling block, or it could mean United end up paying a little bit more than the first rumoured asking price of Sergio Reguilon, which was around 20 to 25 million euros. That's probably why you've heard United have offered 30 million euros, which is around 26 million pounds for him, which again I still think would be a bargain. If you can get Reguilon for 26 million pound, Donny van de Beek for 36 million pound, you brought in Bruno Fernandes last summer for around 45 million pound plus bonuses. What's that? 81 plus 26, 107 million for those three players in this market. I think would be a great bit of business, and it'd be shrewd business from Man United. That's the price of Jadon Sancho. Now, I think Jadon Sancho's worth that. When you look at his goals and assist record, you look at his age, you look at his commercial, which you have to look at in this day and age in football. When you look at all the different things, Jadon Sancho's, if any player's worth that, he's worth that. When you look at the prices for Dembele, Coutinho, etc., 108 million pounds makes sense. But then when you look at that 107 million before your bonuses for Sergio Reguilon, Donny van de Beek and Bruno Fernandes, that's great business. That would be great business from Man United, and we haven't really been in a position to or where we have done that kind of business in recent years. So let's wait and see how it goes down. Victor Lindelof didn't play for Sweden today against Portugal. Portugal won 2-0. Cristiano Ronaldo getting his 100th and 101st goals for Portugal. And Victor Lindelof was rested for Sweden due to workload reasons, so he was obviously given a rest from that. Another update and on fullback that we heard in that same Duncan Castles transfer podcast was that Man United have been offered Alex Telles. FC Porto want 25 million euros, again around a similar fee for Sergio Reguilon, and he has also been offered to Paris Saint-Germain. Now, Alex Telles' agent was reported yesterday to have been in England, or had been heading to England for talks and to thrash talks out to get a move speeding up. Now we're hearing he's also been offered to PSG. Got a lot of goals, a lot of assists from a fullback position last summer. He'd be a decent signing for anybody. But at 29 years old, United may see that Sergio Reguilon's probably a better bit of business with his age and everything. Maybe United are keeping Telles there and Reguilon there in case Reguilon doesn't happen. You can't get over that buyback clause situation, and Alex Telles is here. But again, I'm not too sure about this Alex Telles one, because it kind of feels like we could be being used. Like Wolves are being talked about, being linked with him. Paris Saint-Germain kind of feels like we're being used. I wouldn't be surprised to see him end up somewhere like Wolves, especially when you can consider their connections to Portugal and the amount of players that they have signed from the league. Wouldn't surprise me if Alex Telles was another one of them. And I think they're in the market for a fullback as well. It'd be a very shrewd bit of business, but I don't see it happening. I think this is being United's name being used and being linked to him. And I guess that the most serious interest is in Sergio Reguilon. We haven't really heard anyone reliable speaking about Alex Telles to Manchester United. So again, we have to take that with a pinch of salt. We have to take all these media reports with a pinch of salt, I guess, because things can change so quickly in football. But it's always good to just try and weigh things up and try and, see, is that true? Isn't that true? And like I said, I feel like the Jadon Sancho one, there's enough smoke with that one. I feel like that one's going to happen. With the Reguilon stuff, I feel like there's definitely interest there. The buyback clause situation's probably holding it up. And also United freeing up funds and selling other players. I believe that may also hold it up. But ultimately, we need to get that Sancho deal done. Maybe now, and for you guys that joined us late, we've got 2,000 people tuned in at the moment. Get hitting that like button right now. And if you're not subscribed, I know like 45% of you watching, you're not subscribed. Get hitting that subscribe button. It doesn't take you long, doesn't cost you anything, and it does me a massive favour. We're trying to hit 100k to get hitting that like button. But as I was saying, the updates in regards to Jadon Sancho are that he was waiting for a bonus to be triggered in his contract. So after he made 10 international appearances, it wasn't his first 10, but 10 from the time he signed his contract, which was triggered by that game against Iceland today, he was in line for a 1.5 million euro bonus, and his family and him were waiting for that bonus to be triggered. So now he's played in that game against Iceland, he's in line for that 1.5 million euro bonus. So now we could possibly see this move ahead. Duncan Castle's in the transfer podcast. Again, reliability in the middle. It's not top reliability. I'd say it's in the middle. But he's saying that United have an agreement in place with the player and with Dortmund for Jadon Sancho. So could it have been this clause that was holding everything up? We know Fabrizio says terms are already agreed with Jadon Sancho. It's just a matter of getting this fee agreed. How long will that take? Fingers crossed Jadon's done before the end of this, before the season starts for United on the 19th, because it'd be great to get him in before then. But let's wait and see what happens. Anyway, for you guys that don't know as well, Dylan Levitt's joined Charlton. Comments on the zebra kit. It looked better when Beckham wore it. They should have released that picture first. I think the opinions of a lot of people would have been different about it. I think the kit looks better when it's not with the shorts that they've released to fans. I know United are going to wear white shorts with it, and I imagine it'll look better then. I don't think it's as bad as I did the other day, but I still think it's not a great kit. They could have done a little bit better, but that's just my opinion. I think with black trackies it looks alright, but I'm not going to be buying it. I'm not going to be buying it at all. Whose kit did I see that Adidas done and it looked really good? Sheffield United had a really nice third kit, and I was thinking, why don't we get kits like that? But there you go. Pogba update. There's no update on Pogba. Hopefully his fitness is getting better. Obviously he tested positive for the coronavirus, but there's no update on his health at the moment. Fingers crossed we get positive updates on that with the season not far around the corner. Yeah, I forgot about that as well. David Quinton Fortune has left his role in the academy for a head coach role at Reading. So good luck to Quinton Fortune as well. Jake says Alex Telles or Sergio Reguilon. I wouldn't mind either, but I'd go for Sergio if I had the choice, simply because of his age. Yeah, Dino, I'll chat to Tony and Webby and see if we can get them on. Good lads, like both of them. Watch all their stuff as well. So make sure you're checking it out if you haven't already checked out Webby O'Neill's channel. But yeah, guys, that is it for today's United Daily Live. And that is all the news that we have for you today. Fingers crossed we'll hear more on Jadon Sancho's potential move to Manchester United. But of course, whatever happens, we will have updates for you here on AdamMcKola TV. So make sure you're subscribing, liking, commenting, sharing. Keep it locked to AdamMcKola TV. And for now, I've been AdamMcKola. You lot have been legends. I'm out of here.